Hello and welcome to a live deprogram with Keri Smith. I know I'm starting about 5 minutes earlier than I said I would, but I wanted to check this microphone and say hello and just kind of have a casual opening. Can you guys hear me? It's doing weird things, this mic. Hi, Dion. Hi, Davina. Hello, what's up? Let me know if you can hear me or if I'm just muted. But I'm starting a little bit early. I'm still on the road. So on Monday I was in Lubbock and we are on the road. We are actually in it looks like you guys can hear me. Hey Greg, is this microphone working? Just someone say yes or no. That would be great. We're actually in Iowa. So I was going to say up front, if you are in the Nebraska or Iowa area, my husband has a couple shows. We are in Manning. Oh, good. You can hear me. Thank you. We are in Manning, Iowa. It's beautiful, beautiful little town. And we flew into Omaha, Nebraska, which was pretty cool. We went to the downtown area, super woke Omaha. I mean, the downtown reminded me of Austin. It's like I'm sure it's not representative of the rest of the state, but the city, the old historic district, the market district, which is gorgeous, like the buildings and everything. There's this one store there. I think it's probably the most retarded woke store I've ever seen. They had a Black Lives Matter. You're talking about, by the way, a city that there's not that many black people anyway. Of course, it's like all the virtue signaling woke white people. They have the Black Lives Matter big flag. They have the trans flag. They have all the new communist equality flags with the circle on it and all that stuff. They had big signs that say protect trans kids. They had a big Palestinian flag hanging at the door. They have all the things, all the flags. Do you know what I mean? It's like that meme, the current thing. They have whatever the current woke thing is, a few years ago, I'm sure they had tons of masks and they probably wouldn't let you in there unless you were wearing a hazmat suit. Just crazy people. And all the stuff they sell at this shop. What was this shop called? It's called Ray Gun or something. Everything they sell at the shop is political and angry and hateful. Like they have all their t-shirt displays when you walk in. The first display was nothing but anti-Trump shirts and bags and merch and all of it. It was stuff like basically they had a shirt that's like, I hope he dies. They had shirts that said stuff like that. Can you imagine spending your all day, like you get up in the morning, you're like, what am I going to wear? I'm going to wear the shirt that wishes for the assassination of my president. That's what I'm wearing all day, everywhere I go. Like just the misery and the anger, and to make that your identity and you go there and you buy these things, it's just ridiculous. There's some new thing that the leftists are trying to do. Hey, Therese. The leftists, a few days ago, I've had some posts go viral in the past few days, or for Facebook. I mean, like mini viral. What I mean by that is sometimes my posts get shared in leftist groups, like private leftist Facebook groups, and then they send all the people from the group in to mob your post and leave negative comments and, do the laugh react and stuff. These things are fine when it happens. I think it's always funny when it happens, but somebody's been very upset with me lately, shared a bunch of my pictures with Mike Harlow in these groups, and even a picture of dinner that I posted at my mother-in-law's house, they've shared in these groups. And so I started getting crazy amount of hateful comments the past few days. And one of the comments, one guy, he went around, he spent 3 days going to a bunch of my old posts, and he was posting taco, and he had posted like an image of Trump dressed like a Mexican, like dressed with a sombrero, and had a big he was holding a big taco, and it just said taco. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Great. I love Trump and I love tacos. Awesome. What does that even mean? What does that mean? I was just laughing. Like I was like, this must mean something to them, right? But we don't care. We're just like, awesome. As far as like the hateful comments go, that was like the least hateful, because it just was for tacos. I'm like, that's cool. So I've finally got around to. I was like, I should probably look that up. The left, the left can't meme. You know how there's all these groups about where they post terrible leftist memes because they just are always missing something. They don't quite have a sense of humor, and they put too many words on their memes. Like they just are missing something there. And even when they try to come up with something like this, it's hilarious to me because when when Trump people have come up with funny things that catch on and stick, it's usually been organic. Like think of Let's Go Brandon. That was organic. No group came up with this. The Republican, politicians didn't come up with it. It was an organic response, and it was really funny because it was we were making fun of the media telling us, lying to us like they always do, and telling us that these chants at this event that were F Joe Biden, they told us that it sounds like the crowd is saying, "Let's go, Brandon." He's one of the people competing here today. Brandon, sounds like they're saying, "Let's go, Brandon." And they were saying F Joe Biden, F Joe Biden, F Joe Biden. But the media said that they were saying, "Let's go, Brandon." So that became an organic thing, and people started putting it on shirts. It became memes. It became flags. It was like, and it really stuck, and it was so funny. Most of those things, when they've happened, when the MAGA movement have spread these things, it's just from the people. It's just something funny that happened and it takes off, right? But the left doesn't have a lot of those things. Again, I think it comes down to their lack of sense of humor and also their inability to laugh at themselves. But so they came up with this thing called taco. I looked this up. The politicians, like, they came up with it. And it means Trump always chickens out. It's so stupid. And it was completely manufactured. It wasn't like an organic thing. It was coined by a Financial Times writer. It was coined by someone in the press, Robert Armstrong. And he was trying to say Trump is chickening out because he's backing off his tariffs or something. And then Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer recorded a video talking about Taco Trump, right? Tacos. Somehow this has something to do with tacos too. And so it's like politicians and journalists came up with this thing, and they're trying to make it happen. Like you're trying to make fetch happen, right? They're trying to make it happen. Taco. Look at this. Even this article says Taco Trump is terrible messaging. Yeah, you don't say, because it's not funny. It's not clever. And it's not organic. It's not based on anything. It's just dumb. It's so dumb. It's like hiring a marketing company to try to come up with something. This is really going to take off. Taco is going to take off. And so look, they've done these billboards and stuff with Trump in a chicken suit. And it says Trump always chickens out, taco. And look at this. I groaned when I saw that the DNC is taunting. The DNC is behind this. This is not organic. This is politicians and journalists. The DNC is taunting Donald Trump with the taco truck, featuring a graphic of Trump in a chicken suit. The truck was parked near the Republican National Committee's headquarters on Capitol Hill this Tuesday. Quote, Trump always chickens out. We're just bringing the tacos to match, said DNC Chair Ken Martin to Fox News. Axios reports that Democrats, quote, think they found a way to get under the president's skin. That's the best part. They think this is going to work. They think this is like, the taco thing is like, it's great. MAGA can't stand this. Trump can't stand this. What? We love tacos. Anyway, I can't stop laughing about it because it's so bad and they think it's good. So I've been seeing the taco thing all around, and I think they think it doesn't bother any conservatives. It doesn't bother Trump himself. It doesn't bother any Trump voters, I can tell you that. We just view it as an oddity. Like it's kind of like watching monkeys try to use a typewriter. We're like, one day you'll get it. Keep going, little buddy. Keep going. One day you'll get a good meme. It's just hilarious. But anyway, this super woke shop that we were in Omaha, Nebraska, they had, like I said, the first table was all anti-Trump stuff. Like, I hope he dies. Sorry, and one of them was like, sorry, our president is a bag of DICK, just terrible, vulgar, hateful Trump stuff. And then they had already run out and printed out t-shirts that said taco. This woke, hateful store already had taco shirts. And it was just a picture of Trump in a chicken suit. It said taco. Who's gonna, nobody cared. Like, I almost bought one because it's cute. So stupid. They went out and got, they're like, these are gonna fly off the shelves. Can you hear me? It said that my browser did that. Can you hear me now? So I said they had you still can't hear me? Okay, good. So it says that, so I was saying they had different tables for different merchandise divided by woke grievance group, by which identity group. So they had like a table that was an entire queer section. They had shirts that said protect trans youth. And of course, you know what they mean by that is, this is what's horrible about it. I was saying to my husband, this modern age, we've become so accustomed to this insanity and this evil, but what that shirt means, what they mean by that is mutilate and sterilize children. That's what that shirt means. That shirt means we are cool with mutilating and sterilizing and grooming children, specifically gender nonconforming kids, autistic kids, kids who've already been abused in some way, kids who feel like outsiders. That's what that shirt means. It's disgusting. I didn't say anything to these people. I just took pictures of their disgusting shop. But I was thinking, we just walk by and we see it and we don't do anything. It's like, why cause a scene, but you literally have t-shirts you're selling that are for mutilating and sterilizing kids. It's vile. So Omaha's pretty woke. Every shop we went into had the little rainbow stickers on the door that says, everybody's welcome here. No, they're not. Liars. Everyone who's woke is welcome here. That's what you mean. I wish I had been wearing my Trump shirt. I wasn't. Should have bought that taco shirt, worn that, but they would have thought I was against him or something. We did go in this really cool place in Omaha that was called the Hollywood Candy Shop, and it's in this old historic warehouse that's been converted, and all kinds of candy, an old-fashioned diner. They had a whole pinball arcade of old pinball machines from the 50s and 60s. So cool. That place was so cool. It's like a lot of antiques and vintage stuff, and it's like a maze in there. If you're ever in Omaha, Nebraska, you should go to that market area, the old historic district, even though it's super woke, and go to the Hollywood Candy Shop. It was so cool. So, okay. I started a little early. Hey, thanks for joining, everybody. I see more people coming in chat. I started a little early just to see if my mic was working, and we are on the road, and I figured I would just, shoot the shit a little bit with you before we get into the main topic. So you didn't miss much. I was just talking about where we are. I do need a MAGA cowboy hat. I do. I got to get a really funny, I want a MAGA sombrero and a MAGA cowboy hat. So here's the news. Let me show you this. My husband and I are in Manning. I'm going to put this up on the screen. We are in Manning, Iowa. It is beautiful here. I've never been to Manning. It's a little town. It's like population 1,500. It is one of the most gorgeous little small towns I've ever been in the United States. Every lawn is perfectly manicured. It's beautiful. All these old historic homes A lot of times towns this size are dying. In Texas anyway, you see a lot of dying small towns. This town, Manning, Iowa, is gorgeous. They're growing. They have like a new fire department, new assisted living center. They have a new, this hotel's brand new. All these things within the past 10 years. We were talking to a lot of people who live here. They do a lot of volunteer work. People really care about the town. They care about, they volunteer to manicure the town square, like the main street and stuff like that, and put out boulders and flowers and make it look nice. Every yard looks super nice. We were like, even not just the old historic homes, the apartment complexes look nice and cute. The lawns are manicured. We were driving around like this little town, like, where's the ghetto part? We couldn't find, we're like, I guess there's not a ghetto. Where's the MLK Boulevard? There's not one. It's just, there's no bad part of town. Now that's not entirely true. I talked to some locals. They're like, no, we've got some kind of rough parts, but you don't see them. Not like in a lot of dying towns. This town's gorgeous. There's this beautiful historic church here. I posted a picture of it last night. I can't get over it, how gorgeous it is. Huge steeple. And we're going to go visit that church a little later. Anyway, if you are in the area, if you're in Iowa or Nebraska and you want to come hang out, my husband has a private show tonight, but tomorrow night, Saturday night, he's got a public show, and tickets are just $10. It's not much. It's a fundraiser for, I think, is it for the fire department? I'm not sure. For the town. It's some kind of fundraiser. And it's at the Manning Hossbarn Heritage Park. And it's tomorrow, June 7th, Saturday. They have like a meet and greet with my husband at 6 p.m. And then the show starts at 6:30. And there's going to be a taco truck. There's going to be a taco truck. And it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be at the park. So if you're in the area and you want to come hang out, feel free to come. I've met lots of deprogrammed people on the road in the past whenever I get to travel with my husband for his music. And I've met some people who told me they were nervous. I met some people in Europe. I met some people in Montana, Colorado. In Europe, in Germany, and in Switzerland, I met people who watch deprogram. And in Amsterdam, I met people who watch deprogram. And sometimes people say, oh, I didn't know if I was going to come because I was nervous. And don't feel nervous. It doesn't, just come say hello and, wear a fun hat if you want, and we'll have fun. So if you're around, come on out and yeah, come say hello. Okay. That's it. That's the opening. What's in Iowa? Says certainly Unicorn. Mostly plains, or are there mountains? Not really familiar. Well, this part of Iowa, I don't know about the rest, but this part is gorgeous. It's like rolling hills and it's beautiful and green. And I guess there are a lot of Dutch and German immigrants to this area. And no wonder these people chose to settle here when they did, because it looks a lot like Germany, the rolling green hills and streams, and it's super cute. Like, I would totally live here. Okay. Hey, Two Sisters and some Yarn is here. She says, oh my God, I actually caught it live, albeit listening while driving. I miss you all so much. We miss you. Thanks for being here. We're just talking about Iowa and Nebraska. And Pirate Tomsky says, she still hasn't come to see me in England, though. Hey, dude, Anthony and I were just trying to figure out when we might be able to come there. Not this year. Again, maybe next year. We're talking about it. He wants to play England. This is how we get to travel, is with his music. So we're pretty blessed in that way. If he gets shows somewhere, then we can go there. Okay. Yeah, taco. It's not Tuesday, but it should be Taco Tuesday. Hey, guys, let me just thank a couple people, and then we'll get into the main topic. Pirate Tomsky, Mr. Pirate, give it up for him. He gifted 10 memberships. If you got one of those, please thank him. And I appreciate you supporting the channel, Pirate. Thank you so much. And then he also says, for £5 super chat, thank you. Says, Keri, check your DMs. I sent you the funniest JD Vance meme of the past 24 hours. Also, hi chat. Okay, I will check it out. I love the JD Vance memes. Somebody says, Mark says, Raleigh. Oh my gosh, Raleigh, North Carolina. I went to school in Durham, not too far away. I went to Duke, and we were talking about Raleigh Durham today too with someone here in Iowa. And my next year, we really also want to try and make a trip to the Carolinas. So if you have suggestions on places where my husband should play, let me know. One last thing before we get started. I know I said we're about to jump in, but let me show you this. This is so beautiful. This is my husband's new album. It's a piano album, and it's so much more than piano. There's no vocals on any of this. It's gorgeous music. It just came out. You can get it at anthonygarciamusic.com, or you can just listen to it there. You can stream the whole thing there. And this song, Lux Eterna, means eternal light. It's one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard. I can't stop listening to it. He's been putting out the album one song at a time, but you can hear the whole thing there, every part of it that's been released anyway. And it's really it's great. It's emotional. It's hard to explain. Go listen to it. Here, I don't know. Okay, I'll stop. I got to stop sharing it. I'll listen to the whole song. I love that song. Mark says, let's do this for a while. Let's just listen to music. Yeah, go. You can stream the whole thing at Anthony Garcia Music. Is just gorgeous. And that's all I'll say about it. I'll quit bragging on him. But man, I love this. I love this album. Okay. Somebody says Asheville. Hey, what's up, Sarah? I love Asheville. Maybe we'll hit Asheville. Michael says Greenville. Yeah, I'm from near there. I'm from near Spartanburg, Greenville. That's the part of the country I'm from. Pirate says, will he copyright strike your channel for playing his album? We'll see. Yeah, and Pirate says, I like listening to music like that when I need to focus on work. It is a wonderful album for working, for relaxing. Some of the songs, like that one, is like a good relaxing song. He let me name a couple of the songs on the album. One of them I called Down the Rabbit Hole. It's called Down the Rabbit Hole because it sounds like the kind of music you would have on in a movie, like the music they would choose for a movie when somebody's on the computer and going down the rabbit hole of like figuring out who killed JFK or something. It's like, or any other kind of rabbit hole you go down. Like it sounds like the kind of music, the background music that would be in a TV, like a Lifetime movie, when the woman's like finding out her husband has a secret life and is like, following him around secretly down the rabbit hole. Anyway, there's all different kinds of songs like that. A lot of it's very cinematic. So Pirate says, can you please name a song Pirate Tomsky's anthem? I'm gonna tell him. He loves your accent, Pirate, so I'm telling him he needs to do a song. Okay. Hey, Cowgirl Carpentry's here. I haven't seen you in a while. West Keri, Jordan Lake, North Carolina. Girl, I will make sure that's on our list. We need to do the whole Carolinas. Like, we could just stay there for a couple weeks, visit my family, and yeah. Okay, enough about that. So here's what was happening. So while we were on this music road trip and making our way out here to Iowa, the whole internet scene, I guess, went crazy yesterday because Trump and Elon got into a huge fight for Pride Month. They decided they're going to get into a big fight. And from what I understand, leftists are loving this, of course. They love it. They're like celebrating it. And a lot of people on the right were fighting, I guess, based on what people have said on X, that there was a lot of fighting going on and people taking sides. And every freaking person with a podcast like this, every person on X seems like had a take on it or something. I was reading some of it yesterday when we drove from the airport to Manning, and it's parts of it are funny, but I just don't care. I didn't say anything about it yesterday. I don't have any hot take to give. I realized I'd named a video Elon and Trump today because I wanted to go through the broad strokes of what happened, but I don't know what it I don't know what it means. I don't think you have to take a side. I think it's still largely a distraction. Here, let me just do a little, let me just show you what I think it's about here. John, hot take. I have no take. LOL. That's it. I have my hot take is that I don't care that much. I don't have a take. I'm going to show you the broad strokes of what happened because part of it is amusing and part of it's depressing. But here's what's going on. Therese says they're on the same side. LOL. Yeah, like who cares? Okay, so there's this bill, that Trump calls the big beautiful bill that he's trying to get them to pass, and it looks like a lot of Republicans are supporting this thing, and it's going to increase the deficit. It's going to increase the debt. It's got a lot of tax cuts in it. And Elon is upset because it doesn't include a lot of the Doge cuts, and that's why Trump picked him for Doge, is to recommend all these cuts. And so I think, based on what I've seen, until somebody gives me reason to think otherwise, I think he's just genuinely upset, like a lot of us are, that like, oh, look, the Republicans promised a lot of stuff, that they were going to cut the deficit and all this stuff, and they're not. They're including all this pork in the bill. And they added all these amendments in the middle of the night, and none of them had time to read it before they started debating it. None of them had time to read it before they started debating it. Like, this is how politics works. It's ridiculous. So I think he's rightly pissed. Yes, Dion says, I think that Elon is pissed that he wasted his time and we still aren't saving any money. Yes, if you read his X feed, it seems to be the case that he's just very upset about this. So let's start with this one. His whole feed, most of his feed is about this. And he says, this is what it comes down to. And this is a video clip of him talking about the national debt. And there's a quote here. He says, I think the real wake-up call for me was seeing that the interest payments on the national debt exceeded the Defense Department budget. I just don't want America to go bankrupt. So we'll play this.
I mean, frankly, I can't believe I'm here doing this. It's kind of bizarre. But I kind of think that we've got this enormous federal budget deficit, and it's a $2 trillion deficit. It keeps growing. Our interest payments are higher than our Defense Department budget. That's I think was the real wake-up call for me, was looking at seeing that the interest payments on national debt exceeded the Defense Department budget, and that was only growing over time, which meant if we didn't do something about this, then there won't be any money for anything. We'll just be servicing debt.
And you know how to read an income statement, and you know how to read a balance sheet. You've had some business experience. I'm kidding, but
yeah,
you know about this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, really, I just don't want America to go bankrupt.
So it's a call to action. You're hearing a call to action.
Yeah.
You giving up your other stuff? I mean, how are you running your other businesses?
I'm just going to stop it right there because that's the important part. I mean, he's been talking about this for a while. I think he is sincere. I think he does care about the debt. And it doesn't seem that a lot of politicians do. Nobody's thinking, people don't tend to think long term. They're just thinking in the short term. A lot of politicians are going to put stuff in that benefits them and puts money in their pocket, and they're not thinking about the American people. And this goes for politicians who are Democrats and Republicans. There's a lot of people who recently left the left. For me, it's been about 8 years now. But there are some people like this Matt Von Swoll guy that I follow, and some others who just left the left, and the first time ever they voted Republican, and they're so devastated. He was like hysterical tweeting yesterday, all caps. Just like these people are. It's like they're in that stage where they're just learning, like, oh, Republicans can be hypocrites too. Yeah, of course. Yes, they're politicians. What did you expect? And so I think he is sincerely upset by this. Let's look at some other stuff that he shared, because this is going to give you an insight into what he's so upset about. This is someone who's saying the majority of Republican voters, not the politicians, but the voters, strongly agree with Elon and want the big, beautiful bill, that's what Trump's calling it, trimmed down. And he says, yes. Okay, here's another one. Now, as this fight erupted, Trump has said, and I'll show you Trump's comments in a second. Trump has said that Elon is basically just butthurt. He didn't use the word butthurt, but he used some words that were pretty close. But he says, because, you know, I got rid of his electric vehicle thing. Well, Elon ended up showing a lot of clips where he says he was fine with that. He even showed clips of Trump saying that Elon was fine with it, that he didn't want that he said they should get rid of all these credits, right? Let me find that one. I'll play. That's not the one that I was on. It's not the one I want to show you. First, this is a clip about the debt. Let me show you this one here. Just to give you an idea of all the stuff he was sharing yesterday. All of it, almost all of it's about our debt.
He's frustrated. I think he believes, in my judgment correctly, that we're quickly becoming debt slaves, that Congress needs to relearn the magical healing power of no, and I agree with him. Having said that, I'm not ready to throw in the towel on this bill. He's frustrated.
Okay. Now, then Elon started pulling up old tweets of Trump's. And this is one from 2012 where Trump said, no member of Congress should be eligible for re-election if our country's budget is not balanced. Deficits not allowed. And Elon says, now that's an old tweet. That's from 2012. And Elon says, I couldn't agree more. And you're going to see he shares stuff like that repeatedly. And he says, you know, what happened to this president? Where is this version of Trump that says our country's budget needs to be balanced, deficits not allowed? Let's scroll through this. Here we go. He says, whatever. Keep the electric vehicle solar incentive cuts in the bill. Now, this is Elon basically challenging what Trump said, because Trump is out there saying Elon's just butthurt and he's mad that I cut the electric vehicle incentives, the electric vehicle credit tax incentives. And Elon's like, no, I don't care at all. He goes, whatever, keep the electric vehicle and solar incentive cuts in the bill, even though no oil and gas subsidies are touched, very unfair. But ditch the mountain, all caps, mountain of disgusting pork in the bill. And then he says, in the entire history of civilization, there has never been legislation that's both big and beautiful. Everyone knows this. It can't be big and beautiful. Either you get a big and ugly bill or you get a slim and beautiful bill. So he's really upset that there's not more cuts, that there's all this pork in the bill. Take this down for a second. Here we go. This is the debt. This is why he's so upset. We are inching towards $37,000 trillion national debt. Like, that's where we're at right now. And so, you know, this bill is only going to make it worse. It's not cutting it, it's making it worse. And this is the exact opposite of what we were promised and people believed we were going to get. Now, here's these are Trump's statements. This is him explaining the fight. And I think this is dishonest based on what I've seen. I do like Trump. I don't regret my vote at all. I'm not one of those weird people who's like, I don't feel like I have to take a side. I don't feel like I have to be, you know, oh my gosh, I wish I didn't vote for Trump. Of course not. Are you kidding me? I don't regret my vote at all. What's the alternative? What's the alternative? Kamala? What? No, thank you. I'm very happy with my vote. I can still be based in reality, and I can still say, I think Trump is being dishonest here because he's saying that, you know, Elon's just mad about the electric vehicle cuts. And Elon's like, no, I don't care about that at all. And Trump's on record previously saying that Elon didn't care about it at all. So here, let's watch this.
But if they picked him, I would have won Pennsylvania. I won it by a lot. But I'm very disappointed because Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here, better than you people. He knew everything about it. He had no problem with it. All of a sudden he had a problem And he only developed the problem when he found out that we're going to have to cut the EV mandate, because that's billions and billions of dollars. And it really is unfair. We want to have cars of all types. Electric, we want to have electric, but we want to have a gasoline combustion. We want to have different. We want to have hybrids. We want to have all. We want to be able to sell everything. And when that was cut, and Congress wanted to cut it, it became a little bit different. And I can understand that. But
let me hold on here. Just for the record, I don't like electric vehicles. I'm never going to have an electric vehicle. We do have a hybrid, but I'm never going to have something that's solely electric ever. I don't like electric vehicle mandates, and I'm glad they cut this. I'm glad. So Trump's glad we cut it. I'm glad they cut it. And according to Elon is fine with them cutting it. He doesn't care. He said that multiple times, and Trump has, lauded him for saying that. So this to me is just a red herring. It's a non-issue. I don't think this is why Elon's pissed.
he knew every aspect of this bill. He knew it better than almost anybody. And he never had a problem until right after he left. And if you saw the statements he made about me, which I'm sure you can get very easily, it's very fresh on tape, he said the most beautiful things about me. And he hasn't said bad about me personally, but I'm sure that'll be next. But I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
Mr. President, I just want to clarify, did he raise any of these concerns with you privately before he raised them publicly? And this is the guy.
Okay, so you saw that part where he's saying, Elon is just mad about EV. I don't think so. And then he says Elon was able to read this bill. He knew it inside and out. Okay, well, that doesn't seem to be exactly true either. And I'll show you why, because of the amendments that were added, all the stuff that was added in it, that even the members of Congress didn't have time to read it before they started talking about it, before they had to start debating it. I'll get to that one in a second. I'm just kind of going chronologically through here, but look at this. Let me show you this one. This gives you a little more insight into what Elon's pissed about. This is another old tweet of Donald Trump's. This is from 2013, where he says, "I cannot believe the Republicans are extending the debt ceiling. I am a Republican and I am embarrassed." And Elon says, "Wise words," right? Again, he's pulling up these old tweets and saying, "What happened to this guy? Extending the debt ceiling is embarrassing. Why are you doing it?" And then he has that old tweet from 2012 there of Trump's: "No member of Congress should be eligible for re-election if our country's budget's not balanced. Deficit's not allowed." That's great. Then he has, this is sort of a compilation of all of Trump's a bunch of his old tweets from 2011, 2012, 2015, all these different years where he's talking about the budget. And he says, "We could use the balanced budget amendment. Politicians don't have the will to cut spending." Here's another one. He says, "We need a balanced budget amendment because Congress has no fiscal discipline." Here he says, "The Republicans should not give Barack Obama the authority to raise the debt another 1.2 trillion. Here's another where he says, "Barack Obama is bankrupting this country. His budget adds another 4.4 trillion to the debt, putting us over 20 trillion in total debt by 2016. Here's another. Trump says, "The more you learn about the debt deal, the worse it gets." Here's another. He says, "Our 17 trillion national debt and 1 trillion yearly budget deficits are a national security risk of the highest order." I mean, just on and on and on. He's saying all this stuff that Elon agrees with, but these are old tweets. And he's like, what happened to this guy? This is what this is about. Basically he's saying, I believe what Trump used to believe or said he believed. Okay. Let me find. Oh, these are people saying, I hope this doesn't create long-term damage between Elon and Trump. I mean, I don't think it will. And like I said, I don't really care. I mean, who cares? Just, it's not that big of a, people freaking out about it. It's like, it's not that big of a deal. Hold on. Let me find what I want to show you. I'm just going to thank a couple people. John, good to see you. Member for 22 months. He says, hello, Keri, and to my fellow deprogrammed. Thank you for being a member of Deprogrammed. I appreciate it. Randy Wallen is here for $10. Hey, Randy. He says, Midwesterners, go see Anthony play. He is awesome. And go meet Keri. She's awesome, too. That's so sweet. Thank you, sir. Yeah, if you guys are out here, come to the show tomorrow. Manning, Iowa. It's going to be fun. Pirate Tomsky for £5. Thanks, Pirate, for supporting Deprogrammed. He says, and with all this arguing that was going on, the Palantir surveillance database was wiped from the discourse. See, it definitely was, because I don't even know what that's about. I didn't even hear about that. All I heard about was this fight. Isn't that crazy? Hold on. Let me pull this back up for you. I accidentally closed the whole thing. What's really funny are the people who they spent yesterday freaking out about all of this. Like I said, some of them were posting all caps stuff like Joe Rogan needs to do an intervention and he needs to host a discussion between Elon and Trump and for the good of the country. Like people were freaking out and they're like calling on Joe Rogan to help and all this stuff. And then today, some of those same people are tweeting like, it's really good not to overreact and it's really good. I'm like, holy, you were overreacting yesterday. Your whole feed is like all caps. Like, what were you doing? Some of us just didn't overreact or didn't say anything about it. Let me tell you something, especially if you get really worked up about stuff like this, like people do, you're too close to it. If you're getting worked up, you are making an idol out of men and you're making an idol out of politics. And no one man is going to save us. I said this many times before the election, because I was preparing for them not allowing Trump to win anyway. But no one man is going to save us. Trump's not a god. Trump's going to disappoint you. He's just a human being. Elon's not a god. He's a human being. He's going to disappoint you. Political parties are not gods. They're going to disappoint you. They're going to let you down. And if you're putting all your faith in a political party or a particular politician or someone powerful and influential like Elon, you're going to be on this emotional roller coaster because you're looking at them to like save you or save the country or save the West. And that's just not the way it's going to happen. You need to sit back from it a little bit. Okay, here we go. Let me get this back up on the screen. Okay, so some people have been hypothesizing that Elon and Trump designed this whole fight themselves, so that, and I'll tell you why they think that. I don't know if that's true or not, but we'll get to that part in a second. Some people say, just keep that in mind. Some people think the whole thing is like, they're calling it 4D chess and they're just doing this fight to get the media paying attention. So then we can get the Epstein files released. That's what some people are saying. And I just think that's a little far-fetched. I don't know. I think it's a little far-fetched, but okay. So here's an old video. This is something Elon shared. And this is what to me also shows that this whole thing that Trump is saying now, that this is about the EV mandate, is not true. Because this is him saying, look, I got rid of the EV mandate and Elon didn't have a problem with it.
People, we're lucky to have, I have to tell you, I want to thank you all. And Elon, I want to thank you. I know you've been through a lot with this horrible situation that happens.
Running the cause,
That's right. Saving America.
It's very unfair. What he is a patriot. He's a man that I can tell you, he's a friend of mine. He's become a friend of mine. He supported me in the election. That's when I got to know him. Really, I knew him a little bit from the first term, but not much. But he's a patriot more than anything else. He's never, think of it, he has never asked me for a thing. He could have. I always say, I wonder if he's ever going to ask me for something. And that's always subject to change. And if it does change, I'll let you know about it. But Elon has never asked me for a thing. I mean, I got rid of the electric car mandate. I have no idea how that affects him, but possibly not good. I don't know. But he's never asked me for a thing. And I think that's an amazing tribute. I did get activated last week when I saw what they were doing. I said, he makes an incredible product, and we're going to go out and tell people you can't do that stuff, and support him. They got to support him, because if he wasn't doing this, he wouldn't have any of these difficulties. And I think it's getting less and less. Pam has done a great job with regard to all of the, I mean, I know the kind of investigations that are going on. If she finds them, which she will, she already found 4 of them. But I think they're going to suffer very grave consequences, because they're really terrorists when you think about it. They're
Okay, let me stop it there. The important part is what he said there at the beginning, which is that, he got rid of the electric vehicle mandate and Elon didn't complain, and Elon's never asked him for anything. And so, Elon's sharing these old clips to kind of make the point that, like, this is not about that. This is not about the EV stuff, right? Let me show you this one. So things started getting pretty kind of back and forth between them. Like that Trump started posting about all this on True Social, and Elon kept posting on X, and everybody, I guess, was just sitting on the edge of their seat going back and forth. I wasn't. We were traveling. I was reading some of it, but I wasn't obsessed with it. Like a lot of people needed to log off, but they didn't. So they got really invested and got crazy and started freaking out on X. But anyway, this is when Elon kind of went low, in my opinion. He says, time to drop the really big bomb. Real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. Okay. Okay. So that is a huge bomb, right? Of course, he knows that's going to get all kinds of media attention and everything. Then he says, mark this post for the future. The truth will come out. Okay. So this is a huge allegation to begin with. And then on top of it, you get this little bit of craziness right here. Ian Miles Chong, a little bit of craziness. He says, the president versus Elon, who wins? My money's on Elon. Trump should be impeached. What? And JD Vance should replace him. What? And Elon says, yes. What? That's insane. He should be impeached. And what? All of a sudden we're getting to like impeachment and stuff. What are you guys talking? What are you smoking? No. This is ridiculous. That part to me is just ridiculous, and Elon's participating in it. I think that's a little crazy. Look, we always knew it wasn't a secret. We always knew that Trump was on the plane several times. From what I understand, what we know as of today, he never went to the island though. He used the plane. I guess Epstein would like lend this plane out to other rich people. I'd rub your back, you rub mine, whatever. Here's my plane. You can use my plane to get to Mar-a-Lago, whatever, things like that. We knew he was on the plane records, but he had not been to the island, unlike some other politicians. That was what we knew. So knowing that, I'm not surprised that his name is in the files. That's so vague. We don't know what that means. What does that mean? Does it mean, what does it say in the files? Like maybe it says, we tried to do this and he turned it down, or we tried to do this with him and we couldn't get any footage. Like, who knows what it says in there? Or maybe it's something very damning. Maybe there's something awful in there with him. I have no idea. But either way, I would like to see the Epstein files. I would like to see them released. And this is why some people think this is the conspiracy theory that some people, I saw Therese and others are like, Therese says, I believe they are texting back and forth and saying, did you see what I posted? LOL. Yeah, now watch this, and going back and forth. I don't know if this is true or not, but it's funny to think about it. So some people think that Trump and Elon arranged this whole public feud so that Elon could make the allegation that Trump is in the Epstein files, so that then all the Democrats would put pressure, to release the Epstein files, because we still don't have them. They said they were going to release them. They haven't. And so immediately, as you would suspect, if that was the plan, it's working, because immediately all these Democratic congressmen are pressuring the Justice Department to, quit delaying and put out the Epstein files, like get it out there. They want to see if Trump's in it or not, right? They're like, release it. So if that was the goal, maybe it's working. The last I heard is that there was an announcement this morning from Kash Patel, and he is saying that that parts of the Epstein files have been deleted, and that there's nothing in there. There's no bombshell or worth dropping. Like there's nothing in there. Okay, well, again, that's nothing. Again, they're showing us like our government there's no transparency. They say they're going to put this out. They never do. They did some big publicity stunt with influencers where they gave them a binder full of crap. Remember all those pictures of all the influencers holding up the Epstein files and it was nothing. So it's not happening. I don't, even with this pressure, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think they're going to release it. There's too many people that are probably on those lists. There's too many people in there that it would affect. Too many powerful people. They're not putting it out there. So I don't know if it was a conspiracy or not, for them to try and put pressure on. Like what the conspiracy theory about them making up this fight, making up this feud, it would require them to know that like all that really matters is the public pressure. And I think they do know that. So maybe that's the case. Maybe they're hoping, look, we get enough people in the public demanding this. Let people on the left and the right united, saying we want the Epstein files. And this is how we get the left. This is how we do it. This is how we get the left to care about it, is to say that Trump's in there. I don't know. Maybe. Dan says, it's an entertaining story anyway. Yeah, it is. It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. Liz Cannett says, oh, and of course he didn't kill himself either. Oh, he didn't. Look, I've said from the beginning, my theory from the beginning, I don't even think he's dead. I don't think Epstein's dead at all. Give me a break. A guy like that, I always thought, my opinion was always, if he would have a kill switch. He would have something where if he died, if someone killed him, basically, the blackmail would be released somehow. Like, he would have that to ensure nobody killing him, right? And to ensure that nobody would kill him. There's no way he killed himself. And I don't think anyone killed him because I think he would have had a kill switch. I think they actually took him out of that prison and he's on some other island somewhere. Like, still up to the same. That's my conspiracy theory, is that he's still alive. So that's what I've thought. And then other people pointed out, like Surly Unicorn is saying, the Biden administration had the files first. Yeah, they did. And a lot of people have pointed out, do you think that if Trump was in there and there was something damning in there, do you think the Democrats wouldn't have released that? Of course they would have. Of course they would have put that out. They would have put out just that part, just the Trump part. They would have done that. These people impeached him twice. They try to keep him off the ballot. They've done everything they could. They've tried to destroy his business. Like, do you think that they wouldn't have put that out there? Yes, they would have. I just think that's why I don't think it's anything. Even if his name is in there, I don't think it's like a damning thing. Somebody said, Liz Cannett says, he's probably in witness protection. Yeah, something like that. They're probably putting him up because think of how many politicians and powerful businessmen, and think of how many people he has blackmail on. They're probably all contributing to some fund for him to live in lavish depravity. Keri, they shot the guy. Who, Epstein? I don't think so. I don't think he's dead. Michael Collier for $9.99. He says, as a longtime Tesla stockholder, I'm pissed at Elon. Tesla needs Elon the way Apple needed Steve Jobs. I love what he was doing with Doge, but I do want Elon to focus on Tesla and SpaceX and get us to Mars. Thank you for that perspective. I don't really, I need someone like you who, I'm not a Tesla stockholder. I'm not, invested in all of that stuff. So thank you for sharing that with me. John says, for $5, thank you, says, if Trump was actually in the Epstein files, wouldn't they have been used against him during the election? Yes, my point exactly. Thank you, John. That would have already been released. They would have put it out there. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go back to this Elon's feed for a minute because I want to show you some more of this insanity. So then he started tweeting all these old things about Trump and how he knew Epstein and stuff. And, I think all of that's just a crazy distraction. And it seems like all of this is because he's so angry about the bill. Okay, let me add this to the stage. So this thread was interesting amidst all the fighting and stuff. So Trump on Truth Social tweeted in the middle of this fight yesterday, he tweeted, the easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's government subsidies and contracts. So, I mean, it's getting really petty, right? Like they're just going back and forth, lobbing this stuff at each other. And then he says, I was always surprised that Biden didn't do it. So he's saying, hey, if you really care about saving billions and billions of dollars, Elon, then we can terminate all of your government contracts, right? He's tweeting this. These two men just arguing. And Elon says, well, actually, this guy, Eric, has a good point. He says, this would both end the International Space Station and simultaneously provide no way to safely deorbit it. Like you can't do this. And Elon says, this just gets better and better. Go ahead, make my day. So it's just this like petty back and forth. Like, I'm going to cancel your government contracts. Okay, great. You're screwed without me, without SpaceX. And then saying, you're in the Epstein files, deal with that. Have a nice day kind of thing. Here's Trump. Here's another one of Trump's responses on TruthX. He says, Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his electric vehicle mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted, that he knew for months I was going to do. And then he just went crazy, all caps. Now, I don't believe this. I don't. I still like Trump. So glad I voted for him. I know he's a flawed human. I've always known this. I don't believe this is about the electric vehicle mandate. There's too much. There's Elon's on the record too many times, too many videos, too many interviews, constantly saying both before and after that you should get rid of the electric vehicle thing. He doesn't care. So that's not it. It's the bill. I wish he would just address it, address what Elon is saying about the bill. He's avoiding that entirely. He's not talking about that at all. Here, let me show you this. The federal debt. This is just insane. This is more stuff that Elon's put in, tweeting. Interest costs on the U.S. federal debt. This is how much we're paying in interest. This isn't the debt itself. This is just the interest. This is like if you have credit card debt and you're paying interest on it each month and it's just getting worse, So in 2024, just our interest on our debt was 1.13 trillion with a TR, trillion dollars. That's how much we're paying. In 2023, it was 883 billion. In 2022, it was 719 billion with a B. 2021, 560 billion. You can just see how much we're paying in interest. This is the source of this is the Treasury Department. And so Elon shared this and says, Congress is spending America into bankruptcy. He's pissed. This is what he's been talking about for a while. And this is what the Republicans said they were going to do, is to stop this. And they're not. So he pulls up an old tweet of Speaker Mike Johnson's from 2018, where Mike Johnson said at some point, Congress has to stop this endless cycle of out of control deficit spending. And Elon says, I super agree with this guy. Like, basically, he's asking yet again, like, where's this guy? What happened to the Mike Johnson of 2018 who says we have to stop this endless cycle of out of control deficit spending? Why don't you guys actually do things you said you were going to do? Then he's showing this quote, balanced budget or bust. This is a CNN piece. And this is from 2011. And he's highlighting what John Thune said back in 2011. And this was John Thune talking about Obama. Here, I'm going to show you this article because it's pretty cool. This is from CNN. Okay, so this is an article by John Thune in 2011. I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger. Republican John Thune is the junior U.S. Senator from South Dakota. This was over 10 years ago, 2011. Much of the country has been watching the debate in Washington over how our government spends money and how much it spends. The public attention is warranted. This important debate will help determine the future direction of our country. We will either move to the fiscally responsible path of living within our means, or we will continue down the dead-end road of reckless borrowing and spending. President Barack Obama has been clear about which direction he prefers. In his latest budget, which he submitted to Congress a few months ago, he proposed more than $1 trillion in new deficit spending for next year alone. and would have nearly doubled our debt in 10 years. The president's budget was rejected by the Senate 97-0. Our nation has a debt of more than $14 trillion. This was back in 2011. 95% of our gross domestic product. To put that in perspective, at the beginning of this year, Greece was at 143%. That is what happens if we do nothing. But there's another option. We could pass an amendment to the Constitution that would require our government to balance its budget and prevent it from spending more money than it collects. This is what Trump was tweeting back in 2011 too, in 2012, remember? He was saying you should pass an amendment that requires them to balance the budget. So Elon is sharing this old article from Thune from 2011, and he's basically like, where is this guy? What happened to this guy? Here he is asking that. Where is the John Thune of even 2020? Where's this guy? And here's a video of John Thune saying, our nation is deeply, deeply in debt right now. Next year, our country will owe more than we produce for the first time since the end of World War II. That is a very bad place to be. Yeah, where is this guy? Why can't you guys balance the budget? This thread is important. I'm going to go through this one because this one is about Trump saying, remember that video we just watched where Trump said that Elon knew the inner workings of the bill? He said, I'm very disappointed with Elon. I've helped him a lot. He knew the inner workings of the bill better than anybody sitting here. He had no problem with it, right? Well, Thomas Massey jumps in and he clarifies some things. And this part of it is pretty concerning, but I guess I don't expect differently from politicians. So he says the House has a 72-hour rule which requires the bill to be posted 72 hours before passage. So meaning you get 72 hours to read it, right? Like you have to get it out there. But the speaker circumvented this rule with a manager's amendment that rewrote and added substantial portions of the bill as it went through the Rules Committee the night the bill was passed. There's another House rule which requires a day to pass before voting on a bill after the Rules Committee has modified it. Would you believe the House voted to suspend that so-called same-day rule? This means that the final language of the bill was released only a few minutes before the debate began. The vote on the rule change and the vote on the bill followed within a couple of hours. Elon is right. Members of Congress didn't even know what was in this bill until the night it passed. A few other members have also made this clear. So even the people voting on it didn't get to read it. It came out minutes before they had to start debating it. So Elon highlights this and says, not even those in Congress who had to vote on the big, ugly spending bill, that's what he calls it, the big, ugly spending bill, had time to read it. Seems to me he's very upset about this. Here he is asking, where's the Mike Johnson of 2023? And he shares an old tweet of Speaker Mike Johnson's where he says the federal debt has just topped $31.4 trillion. That was 2 years ago. Again, we're almost at 37 trillion now. 37. It's crazy. So this is from 2 years ago. Mike Johnson said we were at 31.4 trillion. The Congressional Budget Office now estimates federal spending for fiscal year 2023 will total 6.221 trillion or more than the 197,000 per second. This is not sustainable. $197,000 per second. That's how much. So he's asking, what happened to this guy? You know, where are you guys when it comes to passing new budgets? I'm going to stop there with his feed. I think that's good. We can go through some of the funny stuff about it if you want. But overall, I don't really care about the fight so much. There were some funny parts of it. Yeah, but it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't strike fear in my heart. Like a lot of people were freaking out and, begging Joe Rogan in all caps to bring them on together to talk about this stuff, like whatever. But I do care about the deficit. I do care about the debt. I guess I'm just not as surprised because I'm used to politicians being full of shit to not really doing what they say they're going to do. So that's what separates my opinion from it. I don't have a hot take on it. I don't have a hot take on who's right and who's wrong. And other than I'm disappointed that this bill has so much pork in it. That's it. Let's see. Somebody, Ron. Hey, Ron. He says, so who is being shady? I don't think any of them. I mean, I think Elon's a little shady by saying the Epstein thing. I think that's a little slimy. I think Trump is being shady by saying that Elon's just pissed about the electric vehicle thing. I don't think that's true. I think it's actually what he says it's about, which is the budget. My husband's in the chat. He says, I love taco. Well, you are Latinx. That's the drama. And everybody should chill out and refrain from giving hot takes. Just keep your eyes open to see what happens. Pirate Tomsky for 10 pounds says, if you'd have asked me 20 years ago what kind of dirt was available on Trump, I would have said, oh, absolutely loads. But it's like he's one of the most squeaky clean people to run for president. How funny, Pirate. Thanks for this. Yeah, they've pulled everything they can out of every nook and cranny on this guy. They even came up with this fake Russian dossier and faked a bunch of crap. Hillary Clinton and the Obama people did. They haven't found if they could find something, they would. If they had something, that it would be out there. Trust me. This guy has been vetted more than any president probably ever because they've done everything they can. Push-ups. Hey, push-ups for $5. Thanks for supporting Deprogram. Says, did you see that the Libertarian Party is setting up a nudist area at their Pork Fest event? Okay, I did not. I went to Pork Fest one year. They wanted me to come out and speak on this big stage. The speech was great. I enjoyed going, but I'm not a libertarian. It took me a while to figure that. A lot of people, after I left the left, people were always telling me, oh, you're probably a libertarian. That's what you sound like. And, I interviewed a lot of libertarians over the years. And I was sort of, there's always something holding me back from joining that party. And I think I finally figured it out. There are a lot of libertines who call themselves libertarians. There are a lot of hedonists and deeply immoral people who call themselves libertarians. And those are the ones who are super excited about a nudist area, I'm sure, not caring that kids are walking by and stuff. And I've hung out with those kind of libertarians, and it's not just a few. There seem to be a lot of those kind of people attracted to libertarianism, and so that's why I could never be a part of it. Yeah. Good Grief says, libertarians, tech wealthy Burning Man destroyed San Francisco. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah. Randy Wallen for $10. Elon is an idealist. Trump is a realist. Government is totally corrupt. It could balance the budget, but it won't because of grift. All attention needs to go towards rooting out corruption on both sides. I agree. I'm more interested. Well, I'm very interested in. I am interested in the budget and the deficit and everything because I think there's going to be a bill that comes due one day. We just keep passing the buck down the road, but everything's going to crash because of what we're doing. That's going to happen. We may not be here anymore, but it's going to happen to your kids or your grandkids. But I'm also interested in. I'm more interested in the evil ideologies that take root in the minds of groups of people, and that's usually what I spend time talking about on Deprogrammed. Woke ideology, this new emerging racialism on the right that people are calling woke right, things like that. I'm more interested in ideology, belief systems. I'm interested in culture, religion, God, faith, those things. But every once in a while, it's necessary for me to talk about something that's happening politically. So that's what we were doing today. Thank you, Randy. Okay. I think I'm going to wrap it up now. I'm going to go enjoy Manning, Iowa. Randy says, libertarian is the label for Republicans who are ashamed to call themselves Republicans. Okay, maybe. Ron Copperman, what is woke right? I don't look into the crazy much. Well, I've got a bunch of videos on my channel in the past few months about it, in some interviews with Christian conservative men about it, if you want to go watch any of those in more detail. But essentially, there is this emerging splinter group on the right who most of them now outright say we are not conservatives. A lot of them have now been doing posts and videos where they say we are not conservatives. But for a while, they've been trying to sell themselves as conservative. They're not. Some of them admit they are proud fascists. The reason why woke is appropriate, even though right may not be, they sell themselves as right wing, but I don't think that some of them are. The reason why I think woke is appropriate, though, is because, like the woke left, they believe in identitarianism. They believe in collectivism. They believe in looking at the world as a competition for power and resources between different identity groups, and that we should judge and treat people differently on the basis of identity group. But except they rearrange the order of groups. The woke left puts like black people and gay people and women and trans and stuff at the top, and the woke right puts like white people at the top and men, and they just rearrange the identity groups. But they use a lot of the same tactics. It's not just that the ideology has some similarities. They also want to do away with the Constitution, like the woke left. A lot of them talk about destroying the Constitution. A lot of them advocate for outright authoritarianism. And they talk about how Marx has some good ideas. Marx had some great ideas. They talk about redistribution of wealth, which the left does. They talk about reparations for heritage Americans, but they mean white people. I mean, they have a lot of the same ideological framework as the woke left and similar tactics. So I think the woke part is appropriate. They say they're on the right, doesn't mean that they are. Just like leftists said they're liberal, but they're not, Yeah, Texas Sheep Lady, same sinking, stinking ship, just rearranged chairs. Exactly. Fringe identitarian, authoritarian types. Exactly. Good grief. Is Nick Fuentes woke right? Yes, I think he's part of the woke right. He's one fraction of it. Why not call it identity obsessed right? Because because it wouldn't catch on. People wouldn't use that. They are identity obsessed right, but it's a mouthful, and woke right seems to have stuck. At first, I didn't like woke right as a phrase for tactical reasons. I was like, let's not muddy the waters. People are just learning what woke means as it refers to the left. So I didn't like it at first, but there hasn't been another term that's caught on like this one. So maybe something else will emerge. They keep trying to rename themselves. They keep telling us to call them. First they said, call us the dissident right. Then they said, no, call us the real right. They keep coming up. There was a new one they just put out there. Forget what it is. They keep trying to rebrand themselves. The real right. Sounds like anti-racist. Real right. Okay. Need to call it something catchy. So James Lindsay's James Lindsay's not grifting, dude. If you think he is, James Lindsay has been on the front lines. There have been several of us who've been talking about this growing ideology, but he talks about it more than anyone. That's true. And because of that, he takes a lot of the arrows. He has lost speaking gigs. He's lost money. He's lost relationships. He's lost friendships. He's lost thousands and thousands of followers. Everything that happened to people back in 2016, 2017, when we first started speaking against woke left, all that stuff is happening now. If you speak about woke right, it's happening. It doesn't benefit you in any way. But he's willing to lose all that because he thinks he's right. I think he's right too. A lot of the Christian conservative guys I've been interviewing think he's right too. You don't have to agree, but I think if grift means something, it means like scamming money, attention, things like that. It's only hurt him in those areas. Like the people who are grifting right now, in my opinion, are a lot of these woke right people. Like they are using people. They're selling a bad ideology for money, power, influence. They don't care so much about who they hurt or what evil they unleash into the world. Some of the people saying like really anti-Semitic things, for example, I don't think they're necessarily anti-Semites. Or that they're necessarily racist or whatever. I just think they're okay with saying that stuff because they have no scruples. They have no principles. They don't care if they grow that stuff. If it's popular, they're going to say it. It's very popular right now. You can get a lot of attention. The algorithm favors it on X to say really horrible anti-Semitic, racist crap, identitarian crap. And a lot of people are happy to grift on that and do that and get more attention and get more followers and get more money by doing it, you know? So let's see. Push-ups. I'm glad you got rid of Libertarian Carter. Thanks for the $5 super chat. I didn't read this one at a time. Not only was he stupid, but I couldn't stand looking at that mole on his face. I probably shouldn't say anything, but I didn't get rid of him, actually. He blew up our whole channel. I still don't know exactly why. I've never really spoken at length about it, but he did things that I never thought he would do. He lied. He stole. I caught him red-handed deleting emails from my personal email inbox. Deleted our contract. Went back on everything he promised in the end. I don't know why he wanted to blow up the company. I don't know. I've wondered, possibly because I became a Christian. That's when things started to change. I don't really know. Or maybe when I got married. But at some point, everything started changing. And I actually really loved working with him and didn't want that. Didn't want to split it up. But I'm so happy that it happened. It sucks that it happened the way it happened. And because it was a really horrible, traumatic thing to go through with someone that you think is your friend and they do all these things that you didn't think they were capable of. It gave me greater conviction afterwards that, like, no, you do need God to keep you on the straight and narrow, because without God, you can rationalize any kind of behavior. Things you said you would never do, you can rationalize it because he did. So anyway, I'm glad it happened, because then it forced me to do my own show. And I ended up, like, I have so much more freedom. I can talk about God as much as I want. I can do interviews if I want. I don't know, it's much better. It's one of those, like, blessings in disguise. And I don't have someone screaming at me and hanging up on me all the time and being a jerk and going through that cycle of dealing with that. So yeah, it ended up being good. It was not fun at the time. Okay, I think I'm done. I never met a libertarian who didn't suffer from Dunning-Kruger. That might be true. I have met some very, very intelligent libertarians, though. Not all of them are Dunning-Kruger. Well, thank you guys for hanging out. Oh, John says, LOL, you were so nervous your first time out. Only did premieres at first. Oh, yeah. I was like, let me pre-record and put this out. I forced myself to start doing the talking to the camera because it doesn't come naturally to me. I had to get over a lot of the nerves. I think I'm over it now. And so now I want to get back to the more professional interviews. I really do just enjoy talking to someone there with me. And so I'm very happy. I've got the first one out with Adam Coleman. I had like a fun live one with Mike Harlow when he was in town. And then when we get back home from this trip, I've got more planned. So thank you guys for your support. Thanks for supporting the program, because I was able to get new cameras and we're going to be able to do more of those sit down, like in-person interviews, which are the most fun for me and hopefully for you guys. Okay. And Pirate Tomsky says, oh, by the way, can we get Keri to 20K subs? Well, yeah, if you're not subbed, please sub. Please sub. We've been like hovering at 20K forever. That would be great. Okay. You guys take care. If you're in Iowa, if you're in the Manning, Iowa area, come on out to the show tomorrow. It's at 6 o'clock. At 6:30 is when the music actually starts. It's here in Manning. It's going to be at the park I mentioned at the beginning. And there's going to be taco trucks. It's at the Manning Hossbarn Heritage Park. And if you see me, just come over and say hello. You can't miss me. I'll have the hat on and we'll have fun. I'll see you guys later. I'll see you on Monday, and take care. Okay. And don't stress about this Trump Elon fight. Who cares? Just laugh at the funny parts. Go outside. Enjoy yourself. Okay. Bye-bye.